All right. As we were saying, take the A train.
Yeah.
You found it compelling that this you can get such a rich story out of something so
Yeah.
other like the way jazz. You said the loose ideal and the intimate ideal of jazz that you can really play up and make such a I guess an expression of something that would otherwise be as unremarkable as a train ride.
Yeah.
It's
And
really
again, there's jazz tunes. There's a famous Miles Davis. I forgot to mention him. He's another big jazz guy. He wrote this song called Freddie Freeloader. And the whole point of it is because there's this guy named Freddie in his combo, who used to write off other people's music. So he used to freeload off of, and that's probably one of the best tunes off of this most influential jazz album. So it's just so funny how significant, like Take the A Train
yeah,
and Freddie Freeloader, how insignificant something could be, you know?
really.
And again, goes back to it being loose.
Yeah, jazz just I
Yeah.
guess the free flow of jazz just lets you play up anything.
Anything
And I
at
think
all.
that seems to be the theme of what makes a
Yes.
good jazz story.
Yes.
Like how well you can play it up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So if of course, I know you went through quite a few jazz programs. So what would you say that, pardon me. So, how would you describe how jazz has played a role in music education? Like, what do you think a jazz program would or would not be important in, any band program, middle school,
Music
high school level?
okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, how would you,
Yeah.
what would you say the importance of a jazz band would be in those
Oh my
educational
God.
settings?
Just influencing people to start that in the first place. I know so many people who, because of education, have dedicated their degree to that. So I'll take my buddy Alessandro, who can't be He can't be here interviewing
Of course.
with us. He's okay.
I mean,
He's
he's not like dead. He's just busy, guys.
no, he's fine. Yeah, no, I made that sound. My buddy Alessandro, he was introduced by jazz through school, through the education system.
Yeah.
And guess what his degree is?
Really, he's a jazz major.
He's a jazz major.
Wow.
So if it weren't, again, this is me speaking for him. If it was him, he would be telling you. If it wasn't for the education system incorporating a jazz band,
Really?
he wouldn't have been a jazz major, I don't believe.
So jazz just, you would say that
Yeah.
its foremost impact in the development of like a musician such as yourself is just simply it introduces you to something that is beyond a curriculum, because every single jazz
Yes.
program I've heard of is sort of portrayed as, if you're in the orchestra, if you're in the band, you want to
Yes.
do more. So you
Then
think
that,
that
yes.
selects for the people who really want to be involved in music at a deeper level than,
Yes.
admittedly what I did my art credit for high school.
No, yeah. And I feel like any program that goes for jazz, symphonic band, orchestra, it's a crash course.
Yeah,
That's all
sometimes
it is.
it's much
Or-
more crash than anything
Of course,
else.
yeah. Or yeah, and if it's just an art credit, that's fine. At least you got that experience. At least you got that knowledge. But for some, it's a crash course. It's a little taste of what they want, you know? Yeah, and I feel like this education system having incorporated jazz has given people so many reasons to pursue it in the future, you know? It has become people's livelihoods all because of the education system.
Wow. So jazz just introduced at a level that's accessible. I mean, it's
Yes.
just an accessible way to be more involved in music.
Yeah.
I would say.
Because I doubt anyone's listening to it at home, and home is where we learn things, but
Of course, yeah. So
100%.
how would I have kind of a limited insight. I mean, I did band. I played euphonium, for 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
But always feel in these interviews and looking back on my experience, I was a little bit of a stranger to jazz. I mean, part of that was because I didn't want to play the trombone.
Oh, my
And
God.
I kind of resisted efforts to get poached over to jazz. But that's really an interesting take, because of all the people I know and some that I've interviewed that still are active in music to this day. Like I have friends in punk bands who do cover bands, R&B bands. I don't know many people who stick straight to jazz, but all the people I know that have kind of taken in music as something that they do and that they live through still, it's kind of the nucleus would be, if you would ask them, why do you do music, is that I really like doing jazz in high school. And that gave me a really nice time playing an instrument, and I really stuck with that. So that's really interesting. So
that's thrown around.
So do you think that jazz just, by its nature, is more of like an elective selective? Do you think that would really select for, the people that really do enjoy music, as a creator, more or less like as a part in terms of like like the classical ideal, classical music,
100%.
That's relevant in most middle and high school band and orchestra programs.
Yeah. And no, I'm in a big band, and there's people in there that would much rather prefer being in a punk band, would much rather prefer listening to rap, would much rather prefer, but it's just so funny to me how they're still there. They choose to be there.
Interesting. So, I mean, looking back at what jazz is, it's just such a a melting pot, and such a little bit for everyone. You think that little bit can come, from anyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, okay, take Gus for example. This is another individual.
Our acquaintance Gus.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. He's in a metal band.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, but in high school, he was nailing it on the sax.
Really?
He didn't complain. He didn't say, I don't want to be here. He enjoyed playing jazz.
So you would think that in a middle and high school setting, you look into a jazz band, you don't see jazz performer. You see, just because of how jazz works, as the people who want to do a little more to music, you see person who wants to make music, person who wants to make music, person who wants to live music.
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Yes. There's a little spark. They're like, I kind of like this. Let's see where this goes.
I guess beyond, my experience, I've experienced in my, time playing euphonium, where my job was to, like, here's your part, stick to it, stay in time.
Yeah.
You think in jazz class, what's going through their heads is, all right, let me make some music real quick.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
No, yeah, I feel like it's symphonic band. Don't quote me on this. Orchestra, interchangeable. But jazz is really where, I'm in a jazz band.